Hey, how's everyone doing? This is Oz with Oz Mechanics, and on today's video we have this 2010 Mazda 3 right behind me. So the issue with this Mazda 3, customer was complaining while he was driving. He noticed that the steering wheel got hard. After that, he said, let me go replace it. So what he did, he replaced it with the second-hand unit because this power steering is electric, it's a power steering pump. So after he replaced it, it's still doing the same thing, no difference. So he brought it here to my shop. So how about in today's video, we try to figure out this issue and give the vehicle back to the customer. Let's go. All right, so we're inside the vehicle right now, and let me just tell you a little bit more about this. So the customer right here, they put in a second-hand unit. This is a 2010. I'm just not too sure if, you know, they have those available anymore at the dealership. He got a second-hand one. He put it on there. On these vehicles, the rack and pinion itself is still the manual rack and pinion, but it has a pump. So rather like on the older vehicles, the pump was belt driven. This pump is basically electric pump. So they replaced that and it's still doing the same issue. So let me just show you exactly what's going on right now. First and foremost, you're gonna see that light is on. That's what I noticed. It get kind of loud. Normally on these steerings, they're pretty soft, and this one, it has some lag to it. Like if I use my pinky, this should be easy to move. And right here, this hurts. Feels like my pinky's about to come off. But yeah, this is what we're having. And we got to put a little bit of muscle into it to get it moving. So that's the issue that we have. So what we can do now, we can pull up our top-down Phoenix Max right here, and we can look at our codes. So if we go to a Mazda 3, all right, there you go, 2.0. All right, let's do our high-speed scan. I really like this topography right here. So we're going to have all these different codes right here. Is we can do a report, and it's going to show us the whole list of this stuff. Let's see if we have anything. All right, this is our electric power steering. There's an exclamation point. Now let's go straight to that, and let's see what code we have. A U2023F exclamation point. What does that mean? Okay. Fault received from external node. Let's try to turn this on. As you can see, like when we move the steering wheel, we can see that we have a movement on the amperage of the motor. So let's move this again, and we can see our degrees on rotation. I'm getting winded right here just doing that. So we can go ahead and turn that off, put our key on so we don't lose our information right here. So we know right here that we have a code, external node, U2023. What I want to do now is see what that code means, try to dissect that, and then look at our wiring diagram, because I'm kind of curious what's going on. They've already replaced this one before, and they're still having the same issue. And I just want to see what's going on, what we have. So let's go to our wiring diagram. Let's see what we get on that. And then after that, I want to go straight to the actual pump and see what we find out right there. The external node code, kind of weird. Never seen it before. Kind of curious. Let's go see what we find out. Let's do this. All right, so we're on Pro Demand right now. So let's check out this code. This is going to be the U2023. And if we go right here, we can go to OEM testing. So if we check out OEM testing, we can see that this is DTC U2023. And if we go down right here, error detected in signal from PCM via CAN communication. Okay, and possible causes, PCM malfunction or EHPASCM malfunction. Let's see other stuff that we can look at. Inspect for PCM malfunction. Repeat the inspection. Is this malfunction reoccur? Replace the EHPAS, electric power steering oil pump module. But they already replaced that. Okay, so there's really not a lot of stuff right here. This is all that it's showing us. Well, we can see right here that it says error detected in the signal from PCM via CAN communication. So what I want to do is let's look at the wiring diagram to this. Electronic power steering, there you go. And we can clearly see right here, this is going to be a really basic system. As you can see on the EHPAS, I'm just going to call it electric power steering. I'm not going to say this whole thing. EPAS control. When it has a solid line right here, that means that this is all the wires it has. Other modules, they might have like dotted line or hashes. That means that it's not complete circuit. As you can see right here, this means that it has more fuses. It has more circuit to that compared to this one, which is a solid line. So as you can see right here, there's only a black wire, which is a ground, a white wire, which goes to fuse 80. Then we have a red and white, which are going to be the computer data lines, and then a light blue, which goes as well up here to the ABS ignition fuse, which is a 4.5 amp fuse. So what am I going to do now? This really doesn't show too much. It just shows that there's a communication problem going from the PCM to electronic power steering. For me right here, what I would want to do is first and foremost is verify that we have good powers and grounds, and verify that we have good communication. I think that's where I want to start off at. Like I said, they've already replaced this power steering control module, but they did put a used one on there. There's a possibility that they just put a bad used one. You know, we gotta see where what it is. But now the question is, where is this sucker located at? It says right front of engine compartment. So if we go here, we're gonna go to the right front of the vehicle, and we're gonna see if we can see where is it at. Sometimes I know Chrysler, they have it like right tucked in behind the wheel. Hopefully it's not right there. So let's go to the vehicle. Let's see what we can find out. Let's see if we have any communication going out to the actual module, and hopefully we can get this figured out. All right, so we're in the engine compartment right here, and the power steering pump, the electric power steering pump, is actually sitting right between here. So it's gonna be in this area. So we have to lift up the vehicle, take off the tire, and take off the fender well cover, and then go from there. So you can see that this is where you fill up the fluid. So we're gonna go ahead and take that off. I got my tools ready. So first and foremost, let's lift up the vehicle, and then after that, we're gonna go in there. And what I want to do, like we looked at the wiring diagram, it's not really complicated. We have two powers. One is gonna be a fuse that's gonna be right here, and I did inspect them beforehand. So these fuses are actually pretty good. This is the 80 amp fuse. Then we have the 7.5 amp fuse right here. They look good, but I got to make sure that they make their way all the way over there. Remember, our module's communicating, so that's why I wasn't worrying too much about this. And we saw amperage of 8 amps. So that's why, you know, I was going to go here, but just thinking about it more, I'm going to go to this side. And when we're looking at that code, it was a communication code between the PCM. So remember, this right here, when we looked at the data lines, these circuits are all tied in together. So that's what we need to find out right now. What I want to do is just go in there and probably hook up our scope to the actual connector. So that's going to be the most important thing right there. So like I said, I did a pre-check on this one, but I'm not too worried about that. They look pretty good right here. That's not blown. That's the 80 amp fuse. And then we have the 7.5 that's in here. If we pull this out, I pulled it out, checked it out. Everything looks pretty good. As you can see, still intact. My main thing is taking off this tire and see what we have. So let's do that. Let's jack this up, put our jack on there, and let's see what we get. Now make sure, what else are we missing? I'm gonna try to take this sucker off. All right, cool. All right, now that we have this out, now we can see our cables back here. Can y'all see these cables back here? Let me see something. Feels like someone's already been back here. All right, you see those butt connectors? Someone's already been back here. Now the question is, what's going on? See if I can disconnect. Well, what I would like to do right now is actually verify that we have power ground communication to those wires right there. So let's get our oscilloscope, and I want to pierce those wires and see what we get with the key on. So that's gonna be my next step now. We're gonna see what's going on right there. All right, you see that? We're gonna try to see what we can get right there. So I'm gonna try to fit my big back self in there with the scope and all that good stuff. And we're gonna see what we find out. But this is our unit right here, and this is what they say they replaced. As you saw, this was disconnected, everything was all nice and out. So this is the moment of truth to see what we have. So let's go ahead, let's get our scope, let's see what we can get. All right, so we have our scope right here, and what I want to check out, we're gonna go and, you know, ground this. We're gonna find the best ground. I know how Bernie says go straight to the go straight to the battery, but I'm just gonna find the best ground I can find right now, And remember, our light blue is gonna be, I think, the 7.5. All right, as you can see, that does have voltage. This is actually pretty cool. And now what we can check is for the CAN line. All right, there's CAN on one end. As you can see, it goes from around 2.5 to 3.5. And then if we go on the other side, it should be the opposite. Yeah, 2.5 to 1.5. Now the question is right here, is this what is being pushed out or coming in? To know that, now we have to go ahead and disconnect it. So if we disconnect this, all right, as you can see, we still have communication here, even though this is disconnected. And then we're gonna go to the other side and just verify the same thing. And we have communication there. So what's going on now? We have comm line on both of them going in there. Do they have another bad unit? This is a question now, because now I don't know, we see that it has good communication. Let's go back to our scan tool. We're still inside it, like we're still connected. Oh, let's go to Mazda. Sorry about that. So we're gonna rescan again. The only thing I can probably think of is that pin fitment. So what I want to do right now is go through this, go straight to the electronic power steering, read our fault codes, try to clear this. This really doesn't tell you too much, man. Look, let's remove this. Let's see if it has the same code. All right, now it's not communicating as soon as we disconnected that. Go back, read fault codes. All right, this is becoming an interesting one now. What do we have here? U2023F, fault received from external node. I really got to think about this. I gotta see what we have, because this is we have our powers, grounds, communication, all that good stuff, and it's still throwing that fault received from external node, and all is showing that is not liking something from the PCM. All right, let me go ahead and think this over, see what we're gonna do, and then go from there, because I don't know if this was a code that was on there before. Remember, they replaced this because they wanted to. And now I gotta see what this code, like, dig into it even more. I was thinking something with the comm lines, but I don't know if that's gonna be it. I was tugging and pulling these just to see, but yeah. Let's check it out even more, and then we'll get back, and then we'll see what we find out. Okay. Holy mother of God. Jeez, it's been like 3 days and the car's inside now. See, put this because the window won't go down. Holy smokes, you won't believe this. Let me show you what I found. I'm gonna own up to this. I ordered a brand new pump, and let me show you right here. Brand new pump, or remanufactured one. Did connect it in, and guess what happened? I didn't put it all the way in. So all I did was just kind of lay it there, connect the connectors, and you know what happened? It still had the code. So I own up on that. Luckily, the parts store told me, they're like, hey, did you install it? I said, no, I just put the connectors. It's like, don't worry about it. So that's that. You know, I did still make a royal mess up, but let me show what I found out on this. This is freaking crazy. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see exactly what's going on. And I just can't believe that this is what actually happened. So here it goes. Let me show you. All right. So as you can see, this is out of the way right here. Like, it is, I took the battery out. We have the battery right here, and this is crazy. Remember, this code was external node code, and I was trying to wrap my head around that. Like, what was that basically meaning? And external, you know, external from the actual pump right there. It was in my face, but I just could not get it. So I started looking at what could be wrong or what was going on. Remember, it had communication on the data lines. Everything looked pretty good. And I just couldn't wrap my head around it. And I was searching stuff up, and I just could not find anything on this. After that, I started looking at which of the modules had the most codes, or what was acting up the most, or what's something that just popped up. And the ABS module was one that popped up. And I'm going to put the code up here. I think it was a U3000. I forgot what it was. It was something like that. And what I noticed is it had other codes as well for the wheel speed sensors. It had 3 wheel speed sensor codes, but when I drove the vehicle, none of them worked. So it got me thinking. I was just like, hey, could that cause the problem? Should we go for the low-hanging fruit like Mr. Brandon Steckler said? You know, what do we do here? So the thing is, we ended up getting another ABS module, a second-hand one. As you can see, that's why the ABS module stuck over there. That's the original one. We just put one right here for the meanwhile. That's why we had to take the battery out. We have jumpered right there, and then we have a battery charger right here. Let me show you what I found out. And this is crazy. So we're going to turn this on so I can get extra juice. All right, so we're gonna go into our top down Phoenix Max. All right, after getting in, the first thing I did, I didn't record this at first, but I just saw if there's any code. And the first one that showed up was the ABS module had 10 codes. But one thing that I did not notice on these codes was that what was it? The U3000. Oh, it came back on. I didn't see that at first. Okay, but now it came up. Now I feel like a dummy. But this is crazy. The other code that was not showing was the code that's not showing was a rear wheel speed sensor. That was the code that was not showing. That it caught me off guard right here. So if we go in here, beforehand, remember I was telling you that left rear and right rear. Beforehand, nothing was working. All right, so now I'm behind the vehicle right now, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna spin this, and then you're gonna see it's gonna pick it up. You see that? I will tell you this, on the previous one, it was not picking it up at all. Not at all. When I was driving it, oh God, I can't explain this, what's going on. But it wasn't picking it up. And now the moment of truth that I'm gonna show right here. We're gonna start this, and I'm gonna show you something right here. ESP, every time I cleared the code, it came right back on. It's not showing anymore. See if we can, I think we had all this stuff right here. Amperage and all that. Now, all right, let's start this. Look, right off the bat, it's already reading 10 amps. Remember beforehand, I would have to turn it to read that, and look. Remember, I was having a hard time last time. And the most important thing, there's no light anymore. Oh, God. And actually, let me make sure that this code comes off, because now the vehicle is running. Oh. Okay, as you can see, that voltage code right there is because it was off. But that's one code that could not take off, the U303. I'm thinking that that other ABS module had an internal fault with that one. But like I said, the U3003 is because we have all this crud hooked up. Last time I could not take it off worth a darn. Let me see. Look, I'm gonna cycle the key, and let's see if the code comes back on. There you go. And these brake system malfunction codes, I'm just going to go ahead and talk to the customer, see if they want to fix this up. But the main thing is that our power steering is back to normal. Holy smokes. Yeah, I just don't know. This was a crazy one. I kind of Hail Married this. I just threw it, and I was just like, all right, which one of these modules is acting up or has more codes that just don't make any sense? I'm gonna try to see if I can put a list on the ones that I was at. What would you do in this situation? You have a ESP module that's not working. They put a used one on there. You got good powers, grounds, communications. I ordered another one, and I'm pretty sure I royally effed up on this one. But comment down below. Let me know your process on this one. I'm still stumped. I want to know what the heck I did wrong or what. I was trying to research on this U2023 external node, but like I said, my call on this one was that U3003 code always stayed on the ABS side. Anytime, it just would stay on the whole time. And I noticed when we put the new one on, when I first did this test, it turned right off. I know it turned back on because, like I said, the battery is not connected. If I don't have the other battery charger, this car won't start. So that's what I'm pretty sure that's where it came on. I'm just thinking that it had an internal fault, and this is my thing. I think it had an internal fault, and that's what was causing that problem. I don't know. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you like these type of videos, please put a big thumbs up. Let me know if you love these so I can put more of these on there. But I am done. This is a Saturday. I'm exhausted. I gotta go to my kids' party right now, so we'll call it off. So there you go. If you do like this video, please put a big thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that little notification bell to get all brand new videos coming out from Mazda Mechanics. Y'all take care. Y'all have a nice day. And goodbye.